Hello, everybody. Thank you for coming. I'm just setting up our recording. So just give me a moment. Okay, here we go. So welcome to today's training, the Couples Communication Playbook, Part 1. I have split this into two different trainings because communication is such a big topic. And as I was creating it, I realized this would be a lot for one training. It would have been like 3 hours long or something. So I split it into two parts. And the important parts are this first one, which is sharing or initiating a conversation. And the second part is going to be about listening effectively or like being the person who's receiving the thing being shared. So that is what we're going to focus on today. The first part, which is sharing or initiating a conversation. So, how to be a fantastic sharer. That's why we're here today. And I wanted to tell you a little bit about me in case you're new to me or maybe you need a little refresher. I'm Blue. My full name is Sky Blue Cutchy, but most people just call me Blue. I am the Empowered Intimacy Mentor, and I'm a certified relationship, intimacy, and sex therapist. And I have over 8 years of experience working with couples and with women. Oh, and here are some cute little photos of my cats and my dog. From left to right, it goes Mew, Mochi, and Raisin. I love my pets. Okay, so why should you learn how to be a great sharer anyways? Why is this an important skill to have? First of all, I want to say that communication tends to be one of the most difficult skills that people struggle with in relationships, and I see it both in couples and in individuals. And if you're in any of my communities, either the Pleasure Posse or our free sister Facebook community, Healthy Relationship Advice for Women, women always tell me communication is really hard and they want better communication in their relationship. So that's why I created this training for you. So back to my question. Why should I learn how to be a great sharer anyways? And this is why. So that you can feel heard, you can feel understood, you can help your partner understand you better as well. You deserve to express yourself, and your partner cannot read your mind. I hear a lot of people say, well, they should just meet my needs or, meet my needs without me having to explain it to you. And I do not agree with that sentiment. And I think that it's actually impossible for someone to meet your needs unless you tell them, like, this is what I want, or this is what I need, or this is what I desire, or this is what I don't want. We need to explain that to people because they can't read our minds. So why is sharing so freaking hard? For some people, sharing is hard because you're being seen. You're inviting people in to see you, to hear you, and that can feel, let me see, there's vulnerability is on this list, but being seen can feel very vulnerable. For some people, it's really hard to open up. Some people, maybe it's you, you feel like you have to say the right thing. I hear women say that often. I want to say the right thing at the right time, and maybe you like overthink it. Maybe you don't know what to say or how to say it. And maybe you had bad experiences in the past when you did share and when you did open up. And so you're like, I don't want to do that again because I invited them in to see me and then I got a really bad reaction. So I put up some walls. So Oh, not knowing how your partner will respond is another hard thing about sharing. And this makes sense because the truth is we never know how someone else is going to respond when we share something with them. And that can feel scary. That can feel very vulnerable. That can feel like I'm out of control and I want to control what happens. So that's totally understandable. I'm going to help you with that. I'm going to give you some tools to cope with that. Oh, last thing I want to say here though is the vulnerability piece. I think a lot of this comes down to I'm being vulnerable and I'm opening up and I don't know what's going to happen. So that's a really big part of why it's hard to share. So sit with this for a moment and just think, like, what is it for you? What about sharing or initiating a conversation feels difficult for you? And don't judge whatever comes up. Just get curious about it and identify it. Maybe write it down, take some notes. So these are the 6 steps or the 6 secrets to being the best sharer or the best initiator. First, this is what you're going to do. If you know that you want to share something with your partner, by the way, these skills can be applied to any type of relationship, not just your romantic relationship, but anybody. But specific, we'll focus with, on romantic relationships here. What you want to do is you're going to pick one topic. I want to share with my partner how I felt last night when they were nagging me about the dishes. And I did not like that. And I want to share that one thing. Or I want to share how I felt when they raised their voice at me the other day. Or I want to share some of my desires in the bedroom. So you see how you're picking a topic. The reason you want to do this is because think back to some arguments that spun out of control. What tends to happen is people will start with a topic and then it goes, yeah, and then this, and then this, and then 5 years ago, and this always happens, and it just spins out of control. We want to keep that from happening. We want to stay with one topic. It doesn't mean you can't talk about those other things at some other time, but just for this one conversation, you're going to pick one topic, okay? And adjust my screen a little bit. Next, secret number 2. You're going to find courage. You're going to get brave. And you're going to find a place within yourself where you feel willing to stay open and invite your partner in. Because the whole point of this conversation is so that you get to be understood and that your partner gets to understand you. So being a really good sharer means you're being brave and you're allowing them to see you. Okay. And if it is scary or it makes you anxious, which is totally fine, you have to find the courage, right? Secret number 3, when you initiate the conversation, this is how you do it. For example, I want to talk about how I felt the other day when you were talking to me about the dishes. That's the X. That's your topic, that one topic. And then you say, is that okay with you? So first, you're saying this is exactly what I want to talk about, and you're asking for permission. I want to talk about some things that I want in the bedroom. Is that okay with you? So this is your topic, and then you're also checking in with your partner and you're saying, is this a good time? You're getting permission, you're getting buy-in for this conversation rather than just being like, I'm talking about this thing and bleh. And then your partner may not be in a state of mind to hear you. Maybe they're in the middle of work, or they've had a bad day, or they're sick. I don't know. There's certain points in time when we're not up for a hard conversation, right? That's why you want to ask for permission. Here's another example. I want to share something with you about the sex that we had last night. Do you feel up for that? So again, topic and permission. Okay, this is secret number 4. A good sharer or initiator is going to use a lot of I statements. So you're you're focusing on yourself. You're staying away from blaming your partner or shaming them in any way. When we blame or shame, that communication is going to shut down, right? No one likes to be blamed or shamed. So your tone is very important here. And the words that you use are important. You don't have to be perfect. Stay away from that. We're not perfect. You're going to try your best. I'll give you some examples. I statements are like this. I feel, I want. I'll give you an example. I feel criticized when you tell me how to load the dishwasher. I want you to give me space when I am loading the dishwasher. You see? Rather than you make me feel like I can't do anything right and you're hovering over me when I do the dishes. It's similar. You're trying to say the same thing, but it will land in a very different way. Does that make sense? Let's do a couple more. I think this is my experience. When you do this thing, this is how it affects me. This is how I want to be. I'm going to move my little face. This is how I want to be supported. And when you said this to me, this is how I felt. So if you bring your partner into your story, you want to focus on what they did or what they said and how it affected you. Let me give you an example. When you tell me over and over how to load the dishwasher, it impacts me by making me feel shut down. When you said to me that the dishes were not in the right place, I felt criticized. So you see that you're focusing on the thing that your partner did or the thing that your partner said rather than something about them as a human being. For example, this is something you don't want to do. Stay away from this is you are so critical and you don't let me do anything on my own. And I hate that. You don't want to do, that's the finger pointing, the blaming, and the shaming that we want to stay away from. Is this making sense? Okay, I hope so. If not, please tell me inside of our community or send me an email or a message. Ask me your questions. If you feel stuck on any of this, let me know. I realize that these skills can be very difficult to learn, especially if it's new to you. So if you're like, whoa, this feels like a lot, that's totally fine. Expect this to feel like it's going to stretch you because it is. These are skills, just like learning how to drive a car, learning how to cook a new recipe, learning how to dance, learning how to communicate, and learning how to share. Be a good sharer is a skill, right? When you first start cooking a meal that you've never done before, It's not going to feel easy, and you're going to need to go back and be like, what did I miss? Okay, I'm going to try it again. Same with this kind of stuff. You're going to have to practice, 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 and you'll get better and better, and it will feel easier over time. And I am here to support you. Please ask me all of your questions. Let me know where you're stuck so that I can support you through it. Okay? No shame in that. That's what I am here for. All right. Now, I think this is secret number 5. When you're sharing, and if you feel like you are getting anxious, like you're getting flooded, if you're like full of adrenaline or fear or cortisol and you feel really stressed out, then that means you're not feeling very steady, which is okay. But the goal here is to stay as steady as possible because I'll give you a little tidbit here about your brain. When you're feeling nervous and you're feeling flooded with emotion, generally we can't think very well. And if we can't think very well, we're not communicating well. Because, let me show you this. Pretend this is your brain. This is your fake brain. This front is your prefrontal cortex. Okay, that's the part of your brain right here. This part of your brain is where lists are made and logical thought happens. Here, there is another part of your brain, we will call it the thumb. The thumb is at the very back of your skull by your neck. This is like your lizard brain. You've probably heard people say like your lizard brain, right? This part of your brain does not do logical thinking. All it is emotion. It's you can think of it as like pulling a fire alarm in the building when you think there's a fire. This part of your brain protects you. So, if you it detects when it feels threatening things in your environment, things that it perceives to be a threat. Okay? So back in the day, when we ran away from lions and bears, this part of our brain protected us. Saw a lion coming for us, and it was like, whoop, we're not thinking anymore. This part of your brain goes offline. This part of your brain takes over, floods us with adrenaline and cortisol so that we can run away from the threat, we can fight it, or we're gonna freeze and hope that the danger passes. That's what this part of your brain does. Okay? So when you're feeling in the moment, you're having a hard conversation with your partner and you're like, I'm nervous, I can't think. Maybe you're sweaty, maybe you're shaking, maybe you're hot, flushed, maybe your muscles are tense, maybe you feel shut down. If you feel shut down and cold and you can't think, that's a different kind of activation. So what's happening is this part of your brain is saying, this is threatening. I don't like this. We need to protect ourselves. This part of your brain goes whoop, and we can't think very well anymore. So what we need to do is we need to keep this part of the brain online so that we can think clearly and communicate well. Does okay, let me know if any of that does not make sense to you and you need more clarity. I am happy to give it to you. Send me an email, message me in the community, Facebook or Telegram, okay? So, staying steady, back to the slide. We want to help this part of your brain stay online so that you can stay steady and calm. Even when you're having hard conversations, how do you do that? You might be saying to yourself, well, how do I do that? Here's some different ways that you can do that. Deep breathing. That helps because deep breathing, when we go and you're breathing down in your diaphragm, not here, not that type of breathing tells your brain, I need to run away. We don't want to do that. Breathe down into your belly button, like make a Santa belly. That's diaphragmatic breathing. I call it just deep belly breathing. When you take deep breaths like that, it's telling your nervous system and this part of your brain that we are calm, that we are steady, and we are safe. That's why it works. You can also wrap yourself in a blanket. If you're like, I know I'm going to have a hard conversation and I want to stay steady, so I'm going to bring things to this conversation that will help me. I'm wearing a blanket right now because sometimes when I talk to people, I get a little nervous, believe it or not. So I make sure that I'm comfy in the moment. I have my blanket with me. You can have some tea. That's so funny. I even have tea with me. You can have fidget toys. Fidget toys can be anything you want them to be. I mean, I have a lot of stuff, but like I even have a little lipstick here and I can fidget with that. I have like putty that I keep on my off in my office, and I fidget with this when I talk to people. So these are just different ways that you can help your nervous system and your brain and your body stay steady when you're having a conversation of any kind where you might be a little nervous. You get to figure out what helps you stay steady. Just because it makes me stay steady doesn't mean it's going to work for you. Doesn't mean it's going to work for the next person. So it's going to be a little bit of experimentation trying to figure out what helps you stay steady. That make sense? A couple other things is maybe you have a pet that likes to sit on your lap or wants to cuddle with you, and stroking their soft fur helps you feel steady. A weighted blanket is a great idea if you like the sensation of being weighted down. You can get all like the yoga things with rice in them. You know what I'm talking about? Or you know those warm things you put in the microwave that have rice in them and you put them on your neck and it just kind of weights down? You can use those on your body as well. Like put it on your lap, put it on your feet. The idea is that it's anchoring you to the earth. Some people find that to be very steadying. Same with weighted blankets. So these are just things for you to play with. What helps you stay steady? Oh, there's a picture of a pet and a picture of a weighted blanket. Okay, here is another secret. When you need to take a break, do it. I'm going to say that again. If you need to take a break from the conversation, you need to do it. Because remember what I said about the brain? Okay. When your brain is getting activated, so you're having a hard conversation, and this thumb part is saying, I feel threatened, I don't feel safe, the front part of your brain is starting to go offline, right? Ooh, what's going offline? I'm having a hard time thinking. My body's hot. Oh my gosh. On a scale of 0, which is nothing, I'm not feeling activated at all. 10 is like the worst. Like, I'm having a panic attack. There's a scale there, right? 0 to 10. So you need to kind of figure out what this means for you. You got to pay attention when you're above a 3 on your scale. Your brain is like boop, 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 boop. And you're like, I'm at a 3 on the scale. You got to out what that means for you and what that feels like for you. And if that sounds tough, if you're like, I don't know what that means right now, that's okay. Please let me know. Tell me Hey, you were talking about the scale of 0 to 10, and I don't know what that feels like for me. I want to help you figure that out because that takes a lot of self-awareness and insight, and maybe you don't have the language for it right now, or maybe you need some help honing in on what that looks like. I'm here to do that for you. So please let me know if you need that support, okay? If your brain is going above a 3, you need a timeout. And this is not a failure. This is not a bad thing. This is just information. Your system is getting flooded. And if we're above a 3 and our prefrontal cortex is going offline, we can't talk anymore. We can't have an effective conversation. This is not, if we push past that and your brain just like do, 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 and it gets worse and worse and worse, that conversation is not useful or helpful for anybody anymore. This is why we take a break. This is why we need to disengage from a conversation sometimes, and it's okay. I do it all the time because I am a human, and sometimes we humans get activated. And I did this even the other day. I was like, I told my partner, I'm feeling angry and I need to not talk for a little while. And he was like, okay. And then I did. I stopped talking to him and I went and took a break because I knew if I kept going, I was gonna explode. I was gonna say something I didn't mean or say something that I couldn't take back. And I was gonna damage my connection with him. I don't want to do that. I would rather take a break, take some space, help my nervous system get calm so I can come back and have this conversation when I can do it way more effectively, kindly, and respectfully. That's why we take breaks. When you are on your break, you need to go do some self-soothing. What the heck does that mean, Blue? I'll tell you. So the other day, when I was like, I'm getting angry and I need to not talk to you for a little while, what did I do? I didn't just go stew in my anger. I mean, I kind of did because I was still mad, but I went and did something that I knew was going to help me regulate my emotions. For me, that was a walk. I took my dog on a 45-minute walk and I listened to an audiobook. That helps me. Here's just some examples for ways to self-soothe. You can do that deep belly breathing that I told you about earlier. You do it at least 10 times in a row and see where you're at. If you need to do it more, do it more. Do it as much as you need. You can use temperature if you are flooded with big emotion or you're shaky and your nervous system is on fire is what I call it, or you're afraid, what have you. Use temperature. Cold water splashed on your face and your neck. This tells your nervous system, oh, we need to regulate. We need to calm down. Walks, like I mentioned. Maybe putting some music on that's like soothing, peaceful nature sounds, water sounds. Maybe try some comedy, something you would normally really enjoy. You can do some art. You can do some coloring, some painting, some sewing, some whatever you like to do with your hands. Cooking, take a shower, light some candles, take a bath, talk to a friend. There is no right or wrong when it comes to self-soothing. You need to figure out what that means for you. If you're like, Blue, I have no idea. That's okay. That's totally fine. Let me know. I want to help you figure that out. Let me know if any of this is like, whoa, I need some support. Let me know and I'll hop on a short call with you to help you figure this out. Okay? I'm here to support you. Pop it into the group. Let's talk about it together. Maybe some women in there have some great ideas. We can all share our ideas. Okay. Then when you feel like your brain is back online, back to one-ish, 0 to 1, then you can come back to the conversation. So this typically takes a minimum of 20 minutes. Absolute minimum. Do not come back before then because you are not ready. Okay? Minimum 20 minutes. Sometimes it's way longer, hours, a day. Like the other day when I was super pissed off, I was angry. I needed many hours and a night of sleep. And the next day, I felt better and I felt calmed and soothed. And then I could talk to my partner kindly and respectfully, and I did. So, depending on like where you're at on the scale of 0 to 10, you might need longer, and that's totally fine. Give yourself the time. I should mention, sometimes people have a hard time taking these breaks or disengaging from hard conversations because they're afraid that this conversation will never get brought up again. And sometimes you're like, I need a break. Or maybe this is you and your partner's like, I need a break. But you're like, no, 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 no. Like, don't walk away from me. We have to figure this out right now. Ooh, that's very anxious energy. That's actually not going to help. So show your partner this video if you want. Let me teach them for you so you don't have to do the teaching. You both need to respect when someone says, I need a break, you must respect it. It is going to help both of you. I promise. Okay? If your partner says, I need a break, and then your reaction is, I'm so scared, don't do that, don't walk away, we'll never get back to it. You also need to do some self-soothing. Go do something for yourself. Go take a walk, play a video game, cook some dinner, talk to a friend so that your partner can cool off or get grounded because neither of you will benefit if you keep if you're keep hounding each other and your brains are offline and your nervous systems are on fire. No one's benefiting. Okay? So, take a break. Oh, last thing about this. If you ask for the break, you are responsible for returning to this topic when you feel ready. And you can say something like, hey, I'd really like to come back to what we were talking about. Is now a good time? So you're also showing your partner that you can take a break, but you're going to come back. You're not going to abandon them. Okay? That's really important because if you take a break and you never come back to it, then that fear that we're never going to talk about this again and it's going to be swept under the rug, that's just going to keep going. And that doesn't help. So you got to get brave and come back to the topic. Okay? You can do it. I believe in you. So now let's talk about some reflection and some homework. First, before I get into that, I just want to set the scene for you. This reflection piece is very important so that you get a chance to actually reflect and absorb what we spoke about today. I know that it was a lot of information, and that these skills can feel intimidating, especially if they're new, or especially if they feel hard. If you're like, wow, this is so different than how I share things right now. This feels like a lot of work. That's okay. This reflection is so important for you to sit with, to actually do, okay? So, this is what I want you to do. I want you to go to a place where you feel very comfortable and very safe. There are no distractions, no TV, no phone screen, no kids screaming, no one asking for things from you. You have space for yourself. Okay, for me, that's going to my couch. I have a blanket on my lap. I have my tea. I turn on some music. I like to do lo-fi or nature sounds. And then I feel kind of cozy. And usually my pets are sitting next to me, my cats and my dog. And I feel cozy. And then I'm like, okay, now I can focus. Go to that place, whatever that looks like for you. Got it? Get your pen and paper or, whatever you're taking notes on and reflect on these questions. What parts about sharing or initiating feel hardest for you? What parts feel the hardest for you specifically? Parts that feel hard for me might not feel hard for you, and vice versa. So, what about it feels hard for you? How do you feel when you do it? Is it opening up? That's really hard. Being vulnerable? Is it the staying steady part? Is it being afraid you don't know what to say or how to say it? Just get curious. Don't judge whatever comes up. We're not here to judge or shame you. We're just getting curious so that you can better understand yourself. Okay, the more you understand about yourself, the more positive changes you can make in your life. Next question. What type of models did you have growing up when it came to sharing your feelings with others? Let me say that again. What type of models did you have growing up when it came to sharing your feelings with others? I'll give you an example. For me, I had two different kinds of models. My mom, she was explosive when she shared her feelings. She was just like, bleh. She screamed a lot. She was out of control. She was big emotions. She was not steady at all. She was often really angry. That was my one model. That was my other model. My dad was kind of the opposite. He didn't want to talk about his feelings. He was quiet, unexpressive, until he would blow up in anger. So it was like nothing or like scary. Those were my models. Why is this important for you to understand about your models? Because then you can understand as a child, this is how you learned to express yourself. We all have models. Mom, dad, caregiver, grandparents, teachers, whoever was your model. As kids, we learn how to do things by observing how our caregivers do things, including how we share our feelings and express ourselves. So, by understanding what models you had, you can understand maybe, like, oh, this makes sense because I kind of do it this way as well. So, the point is not to feel ashamed about this. Like, you got the models that you got, you had no choice, right? It's information. That's it. It's just information so that you can understand why you might do the things that you do now And then you get to choose whether or not you'd like to do them differently. All right? Next. Oh, by the way, if you want to listen to me like talk you through these reflection questions as you're making your notes, you totally can. Just pause after each question and sit with it for as long as you need before you go to the next one. Okay, don't rush. This might take at least half an hour. Okay, this question. If you had a magic wand and could make sharing exactly the way you wanted it to be, what would that look like? If you had a magic wand and could make sharing exactly the way you want it to be, what would that look like? How would you feel when you're sharing? Maybe you want to feel calm. You want to feel open. You want to feel confident. You want to feel kind and respectful. You want to feel um inviting or warm. I'm making things up, but how do you want to feel? If you could make it the exact way, like the way that you're showing up, how would you like to show up? If you're sharing something hard with your partner, how do you want to show up? Maybe you want to show up like, um, you're being respectful but assertive. Maybe you want to be open. Maybe you want to like invite them in. So think about it. When you're sharing something and initiating a conversation, what do you want it to look like? How do you feel? What are you doing? How are you saying it? What is your tone? Get very detailed and specific because this is you're setting yourself a goal. You're setting yourself something to work towards. That's why this question is important. You're showing yourself, this is what I desire. Okay, that's the ideal thing that you're going to work towards. And I'm going to help you do it. Okay, next question. That was it. Those three questions, okay? So please do this homework. It's really important for you to sit with, reflect, feel it in your body, practice it at home, practice it in your life. When blocks come up, or if you have wins, aha moments, please share them with me. Share them with us, the community. I want to hear what went well. I want to hear what doesn't go well. Maybe you tried something and then you're like, I don't know if it landed well with my partner or it was really hard. Or like, yes, this went so freaking well. I'm so proud of myself. Share, share, share. I want to hear. And thank you so much for doing this training with me. Part two is coming in a couple weeks. Part two is all about being an effective listener, which are totally different skills. And I cannot wait to teach you those skills. Thank you so much for being here with me. I am Blue, and this presentation was created for the Pleasure Posse. And if you're not in the Pleasure Posse and you are ready to join, please join us. I would love to have you inside. We do trainings like this at least twice a month. And I'm constantly wanting to know what kind of things you want to learn. So please share with me in the Pleasure Posse what kind of things you want to learn next time. Thank you so much, and I will see you soon.